Hey, how's it going? Alright, I'm going to do this video on tips for sleeping. So I'll tell you some of the things that I've done over the course of the years that I've been more health-minded and what's worked for me, because I sleep like a baby. So tell you what some of the things that I do. Okay, first and foremost, cell phones. If you sleep with your cell phone, stop right now. Don't do it next week, don't do it tomorrow, do it right now. You know, there's people sleep with the cell phone underneath their bed, or underneath their pillow rather, sleep with it right next to it on their nightstand. Cell phones give off electromagnetic frequencies, EMF signals. It's very damaging to the brain. I'm going to do a whole video on cell phones at some point soon. But so you have that aspect. There's also just the most obvious aspect of, do you really need to be answering text at 3 in the morning? I mean, yes, there are times in our lives where we have emergency situations and all that, but most people out there probably aren't in that situation right now. So just turn the darn thing off, leave it on your kitchen table. I try to stay away from my cell phone as much as possible. Sometimes I just leave it at home when I go to work. So that's the first thing. Second thing is the things on your nightstands. Alarm clock being one. That is also giving off EMF. That is also affecting you. Another thing on top of the alarm clock is you'll notice that alarm clocks, as well as any electronic equipment, you know, you can, if you get your nose near it, you can kind of smell. Well, that's the plastic off-gassing. That's not good for you. That can alter your hormones, and we're already bombarded with enough food additives and smelling cigarette smoke and car exhausts and everything else. So trying to stack the cards in your favor. So moving your alarm clock away, putting it on a bureau, that's also going to help you get up a little bit better in the morning, because you're not going to be able to hit that snooze. You have to get up out of bed to turn it off. Alright, next thing, on the same token as the alarm clock, is don't keep your, if you have portable phones, you know how it has the little holster to charge it. Don't keep those things next to your bed. That is also high EMF frequency, just like your cell phone, so it's doing the same thing. Next, stress. Really take time, sit down and see how you can de-stress your life. When we get so amped up with all this stimulation, and we bring a lot more into our lives than we really need, and that just causes us to get very amped up to the point that we're all adrenal fatigued in this society. So work on stress in any way that you can. Let's see, the time that you eat. This is something that I've been experimenting for about a month and a half with. Almost every day I eat my last morsel of food around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go to that length that I have, but that has helped me out tremendously. And I will make a note too that I do have a full-time job. I do work until 10 o'clock at night, so it's not like I'm just hanging out and I can do things whenever I want to. So that's helped me out tremendously. But just as a baseline, try to quit eating, and if you're hydrated enough, maybe not drink water for about 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed. That's just my suggestion. I had a hard time with this when I really started toying with the idea, because I'm really caught up with the idea of having dinner or supper, evening meal, whatever you want to call it. And then it really dawned on me that is just a socioeconomic construct. That does not exist in nature. Most animals in nature who are awake during the day, I'm not referring to nocturnal animals, they stop eating right around the time the sun goes down. So about somewhere between 4 and 6 o'clock, they're done. And as a side note to that, don't eat and then just stay up later just so you can give it that 4-hour window. Play with it. Let's see, another thing is move your bed. When electricians are installing the outlets, you'll notice that in a lot of cases they're right around knee high or thereabouts, so you're sleeping, you could potentially be sleeping right next to an outlet. That can mess up a bunch of things. It really, whether or not you believe this or not, You do have chakras. There are energy centers within your body. I know they exist. I experience them. So even if you don't believe in it or don't understand it, it's still being affected, and your crown chakra is getting blasted with EMFs. It's going to throw you out of whack. The next thing, real crucial, is lose weight. That is something that helped me out so much. I have not been skinny my whole life. I was 260 pounds. I weigh about $140 now. I know what it's like to be a heavy dude. I snored a lot. I had a hard time breathing. I tossed and turned. I can say that most of the time I never got a good night's sleep. So, lose the weight. Lights. Something that I do, which may not fit with everybody's decor, but I have Christmas lights up in my kitchen, just around the perimeter. And that's what my wife and I generally keep on right around the time that we're going to bed. So you can still see what you're doing, but it kind of gives you that sun going down feeling. And when you're exposed to lower levels of lights or even no light at all, your body starts to produce your melatonin. So that's going to start to make you tired. And that's another thing too that'll help you if you're a night eater. Sit in the dark. Sit in lower lighting. That is going to, when your melatonin starts to kick on, it's basically telling your body not time to eat. So roll with that. Another thing, caffeine. Try to cut caffeine out of your life as much as you can. I used to be a caffeine junkie. Later on I'll go into tips that helped me. I mean, I lived on Rockstar and just double espressos. That was my life. So, and another thing along those same lines is booze. Drinking alcohol at night. Alcohol has two stages to it. It acts as a stimulant when you first take it. Then it gives you your depressed feeling. Not depressed like upset, although it will do that, but it depresses the central nervous system. So that causes the tiredness. But your body has to pump out all that toxin. Alcohol is a poison. I don't buy into this. Wine is really good for you. You know what? If you really want the benefit of wine, eat some grapes. So, when your body starts to kick those toxins out, it's going to speed up your central nervous system again. I know it. Trust me. I know it. And lastly, I would say avoid taking supplements like melatonin. Melatonin is something that your body produces. If you start taking pills, your body's going to stop producing that, or it's not going to produce as much, and that's going to throw you out of whack. If you've taken all the necessary steps and you're still finding it hard to sleep, maybe you could try playing around with some valerian root, and it's you can take it in probably pill form would be the best. I would avoid things like kava. Kava is definitely, I used it years ago, and it definitely gives you that like effect, but not good on the liver. When I did play around with it, I used it for about 2 months, and I started having my nose bleeding profusely, and wasn't a good thing. The only other thing that if you really felt that you had to take something, which I don't advise, but if worse comes to worse, you could also play around with St. John's wort. Now, St. John's wort, keep in mind, it does, it increases photosensitivity. Now, what that means is you're going to be more vulnerable to the sun. So if it's summertime, you might want to avoid that. But St. John's wort, I mean, you've got to take that for at least 15 to 30 days even to really start to see some effect. But it does, research has shown, especially in Germany where the research has been done a lot, it does help with depression, it does help keep one calm. So anyways, so those are my tips for now. Subscribe to my videos, questions, comments down below, and get a good night's sleep. See ya.